All right, so I had plans on doing this video, obviously, as a stand-up script video that I do where I'm kind of really fast-paced. I just rock the shit out. But I wanted this to be a little more authentic. So I just want to press record and go off the head. Now, in order to understand why I don't like Miles Morales, you have to start from the start. And that is the creation of this character. He was solely created to be a tokenized Spider-Man. Copy, paste. Don't take my word for anything. You Google anything, everything anyway. That's what y'all do, normies. So just Google it. Since it was conceptualized, that was the whole idea. We wanted a black biracial, but we wanted a black Spider-Man. So they gave you black Spider-Man. So we have a copy paste element from the get-go, unoriginal. But when you then move forward to how he was handled, Ultimate Universe, I don't like it. Y'all know I don't like multiple universes. All that is just gives writers an excuse to have this sort of free for all with these characters. Instead of having being a good writer and operating within the confines of the character's legacy, you just create a new universe and just say, oh, well, it's a different universe. You know what I mean? So I've always hated that shit. I'm glad it's ended, but I think they're talking about bringing it back. But nonetheless, a few years into Miles Morales' creation, they killed off Peter Parker. That's an ultimate no-no. Ultimate no-no. No pun intended. But it's a no-no because they do that too. They do one of two different ways. And when they do this, like they did with She-Thor, I'm gonna call it that, Jane Foster's Thor, where they had the old character validate her in dialogue. That's the writer saying, okay, I can't. There's no possible way I can have this character eclipse the OG or be liked, even remotely liked. So what I have to do is have them validate. They do that shit all the time. That's what fiction writers do. Or they kill them off. They kill off the old character, and then that's their excuse for saying that this character exists. And that's what they did. They kill off Peter Parker in that universe. And then instead of leaving his ass there, they bring him into the main universe, and now he exists. And this is why you got shit like this, which is by far one of the worst comic lines out right now by way of Marvel. This is shit. I did my video saying if I controlled Marvel, this is one of the first books I'd fucking cut immediately. Get rid of this shit. This has to go. This is trash. Miles Morales Spider-Man is a terrible book. But understanding why people like it, I understand. You know what I mean? Nobody really knew who the fuck this character was outside the comic. Certainly because social media wasn't as popping as it is now. But nobody really knew who this character was. They didn't know until Into the Spider-Verse came. The normies certainly didn't. That boosted him into fame, if you will. So now people like use him loosely. Like he's becoming people's favorite Spider-Man. More so people that don't read fucking comics. So it worked. It was a similar thing with the Captain Marvel thing. Character's not as popular, but if you can make it appeal to normies, then you could work backwards instead of using the comic as a test run, if you will. Instead, what you can do is, now that people like comic book movies a lot, you get to create them in sort of a universe within film adaptations. And that's how people liked them. They like it was, decent movie, great animation, so they liked it. I get it. It worked. They throw the tokenism bone, they throw the shit, and there you have it. So I get it. But when we talk about this character, and the ultimate reason why I don't like him, it all stems around the fact that he is a completely unoriginal character. In terms of how he acts, there is nothing that I see of him that I haven't already seen from Peter Parker. The only thing they make different, I mean, it's funny because people feel like they have to validate, and I get it, they have to validate the reason why they like this character instead of just being like, you know what, I like the character. I know he's tokenized and I know he's unoriginal, but I just like the idea of Black Spider-Man. Just say that. Just say that shit. I might think you're a fucking joke for having that as a position, but I'll respect it because it's honest. Don't go. These motherfuckers get to nitpicking, trying to figure out, oh well, he can do this invisibility cloak and shit. I like the family dynamic. They just making shit up, man. They're just trying to find what makes them different from Spider-Man. Like nitpicking different shit, completely ignoring the character, his personality itself. There is nothing from Miles Morales that we haven't already seen from Peter Parker. A depiction, be it an unlimited or limited series. That's nothing about him. They both show the fuck up. And for example, War of the Realms, which you can see back there in that short box, all of the War of the Realms comics right there. He's in Journey and a Mystery where they're protecting the baby of basically the little sister of Thor. They're taking out trash outside, so that's why it's all noisy and shit. But nonetheless, he's in Journey. Miles is in Journey and Mystery, into Mystery. Spider-Man has his own little team, so they're both there. If you didn't know that was Miles and he didn't take off his mask every now and then, you could just call him Peter Parker, because in dialogue he acts just like him. Just like he talks like him, a little snarky, corny kind of sayings that it's the same shit. There's nothing of this character that we haven't already seen from Peter Parker, bro. And it's been like that since he's been created. It's been like that. That's what happens. So he's a completely unoriginal character. People just want to make excuses. So no, I never liked the idea of a tokenized Spider-Man. I always hated that idea. God damn it. Create a new character. Is he gonna kill you too between him and Nick Fury? They just try to reskin these characters that already exist. Instead of putting characters through the grinder, they have to piggyback off white characters' legacy. I'm sick of that shit. But that's why I don't like him. It's not just because, yeah, he's a tokenized character, but he's an unoriginal tokenized character. There are certain tokenized characters, well, all tokenized characters are unoriginal, excuse me. But some tokenized characters can be better handled than others. Like, for example, Batwoman. And I'm talking about the comics. I'm not talking about y'all's opinion on the trailers or shit like that. In the comics, recent depiction of, like, if you read Detective Comics, Batwoman is an interesting character. She's a very interesting character. She's not just a female Batman, even though she is a female Batman. Like Batgirl. Both of them are tokenized characters. It's a little more to her than that, right? And She-Hulk is like, if we go for Marvel, is not recently. She-Hulk sucks now. She's just female Hulk now for sure. But she had at least some sort of individuality. All tokenized characters. So you can have these unoriginal tokenized characters, and some are better developed and better handled than other characters. This motherfucker ain't one of them. He's not one of them. Miles Morales is a joke of a character. He's a tokenism bone that Marvel dangled in front of motherfuckers. Said, hey, here, take this token, and y'all ate that shit up. And now people, because they love the idea that, representation, inclusivity, which is why they brought him in the first place. So if nothing else, you can say Marvel, they executed a great plan, because they were like, damn, let's try to make this motherfucker appeal to these normies. They'll eat it up. All we have to do is just make this play on the race, and that's all we get. They did it. Now, granted, they don't overemphasize his race in the comics. I will give them that. He's still just tokenized Spider-Man. That's all he is. That's all the character is, man. He's tokenized Spider-Man. He's completely unoriginal in terms of the dialogue, in terms of how he acts, his actual personality. There's nothing that we haven't already seen from Peter Parker. And that's understandable because Peter Parker is a flagship, the most identifiable character, period. So it makes sense. But I don't like this motherfucker, and I'm not going to take that damn bone. Oh, you threw out unoriginal, you just reskinned Spider-Man. Oh, the representation, the little kids that now see themselves. Oh, look, they can now see themselves because these idiotic fucking Hollywood elites have been perpetuating this idea that kids need to, and not just them, your educrats and your educators as well as your parents, emphasizing this idea like people need to see people that's the same color as them in order to relate to them. That's a learned trait, people. I've said this in my last video. That is a fucking learned trait. Little kids will play on the playground with anybody when they're young enough. It ain't until they start learning that shit, the difference between races and shit like that, when they start giving a shit about the sexuality and the race of the person. That's a learned trait. That shit y'all taught them. That shit y'all gotta make sure their self-esteem relies on seeing themselves. That shit, don't put that on them damn kids. Quit running back to them damn kids trying to act like you doing something for them. You doing something for your own motherfucking ego, man. That's a learned trait. That's what you motherfuckers are teaching them kids. Y'all teaching them kids that they need to see themselves in order to relate. You're the ones limiting their individuality. You're the ones robbing them of their own agency. You're the ones doing that shit. Stop saying that it's for the kids. It's for your fucking ego. Fuck out of my face. Nonetheless, the character is unoriginal. That's it. That's why I don't like Miles Morales. But I get it. That's y'all's favorite tokenized character. I understand why y'all like him.